Good morning everyone. Happy Sunday Meal Prep Live. Again, another week. I have been fucking around in the kitchen all morning. It's taken me like an hour and a half and I reckon it should have only taken me an hour. But I've been dancing around my kitchen to some new music that Dean introduced me to. It's got a real Viking feel. I'm loving it. Voron something or another. If anyone wants it, let me know and I'll post it. Really good. Anyway, I'll go through my meal plan for the week. I've actually got something a little bit different going on. So for all of you that hear me say meatballs and sweet potato every week for lunch, I've got something different. I did want to talk a little bit about structuring your training programs, and I thought I would use what I'm doing at the moment as an example. So at the moment, I'm really trying to keep my calories where they need to be, so I'm in my maintenance calories and drive the training. I've put weight on the last 2 weeks in a row, but body fat is the same and muscle mass is going up. Measurements haven't changed. So we just keep doing what we're doing. All right, so everything's good there. One moment. I have chicken in the air fryer. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. But I actually changed my program after I hurt my shoulder to a female focused program, and it's something I've released out in the mentorship that I have as well. So all my ladies have access to that. Once you build an all over foundation of strength, so if you haven't strength trained before or done minimal, didn't know how to push to failure, maybe your body wasn't changing and you weren't getting stronger, you really just want an all over strength program, so everything. And then once you've done that, you've built a fairly good foundation, you're metabolically flexible, your body fat's sitting somewhere where you're kind of happy with it, then you start going, oh, but I'd like a little bit more glutes, or I'd like a little bit more shoulders, or whatever it is that you want. The most common one I'm finding for women is glutes and shoulders. So I have designed a program that still keeps you, that maintains strength. So this came out of one of my clients, Mel, who really quad dominant, but lacked in the glutes and she wanted more shoulders. But her quads just took over everything, and she was really quite strong in the chest as well. So what I've actually done is created this female focused program, and I'm running it myself as well. And it's the only measurements that have gone up, I said my measurements haven't gone up or anything, they've stayed the same. I lie, my glutes have gone up, which I want to happen, and I've noticed significant difference in my shoulders. So I'm really happy with the way this program is going so early on. But essentially it's maintaining the quads. So what I wanted to do for Mel was not stop training quads, because we need balance in our body, but she had enough growth in there and we wanted to balance out her lower body. So the amount of programming I've done for quads is a little less in comparison to what I'm doing for glutes and hamstrings. And then with the upper body, she's built a great chest strength, and we don't want to keep, well, we can. Some women like that really strong athletic look. I get quite a strong athletic look. I've got quite a line through the center of my chest now from the incline chest press, because I was really hammering that before I hurt my back, which is great and I like that. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want that to continue to grow and not my shoulders. So I then put a maintenance programming in for the chest, because you do need stability for your shoulders, you do need your chest there. So I'm maintaining that strength and focused on the shoulders and the upper back lats to get this. So what we're creating is that V shape through the shoulders, and the lats creates more shape, and then obviously we get the glutes. So you're going to get more of an hourglass shape. And I find that when I speak to women in my program and what they want once they've built that foundational strength, and it really is, though they don't articulate it exactly like that, they're always asking for the shoulders and the glutes and more shape in their body. So I have been running that program and it's working really well. Mel's running it, she's doing really well with it. I've had a couple of other clients that are just switching over to it. Some women can be quite barreled, so quite straight through the torso. So this is another program that can be really good for them. If it was someone who was really strong in glutes and quads, like really lower dominant, probably wouldn't be the program that I would put them on. But you can pick and choose what you want to shape. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. The strength seems to be coming in, which is really good. It's doing everything it needs to, and I can see shape coming. And though the scale has gone up a little bit by about half a kilo, it's not gone over the last couple of weeks. It's not actually 4 weeks. It's gone up by about half a kilo. So it's not actually much, not even half a kilo, I don't think. I know that the scale is going up, but measurements are staying the same, and the strength is going up because I'm tracking all that data and I can see. So I don't need to worry about what is going on. And I literally can see my shoulders growing and my glutes growing, which is great. So that's what I've been doing. But you can get even more nuanced into this. And this is the piece I want you to take away from this is when you actually start listening to when you understand the foundations and get that in, you can start listening to your body, especially when you're healthy and you've got no other like fatigue and not sleeping and all this sort of stuff that's overshadowing everything. When you feel really good all the time, what you get to do is focus in on your training and how your nutrition is supporting that, and using that feedback and the data to make changes. So I have got my single leg RDLs on the Smith machine, and then I follow them up with a pendulum squat. Now I put the pendulum squat second because it can be quite quad dominant, and I wasn't looking for as much quad in this program. But what I'm actually finding is, because I have taken to the single leg RDLs on the Smith machine since I injured my back, I've taken to them so well and I'm driving them so hard at the moment. But from previously, I've always driven my pendulum squat a lot as well. Those two big movements in one day, I can feel the recovery. I'm recovering, but it's harder than what it needs to be, and I feel like my pendulum squat is stalling. So I do want to try and progress that, not as quickly as all my glute movements, but I do want to see some progression in it. So I'm going to tweak the program. So essentially this is an upper-lower split, but it's just about where you lay things out. And I think I've just got too bigger, heavier movements on that day. And if I swap it to my other day, I'll have hip thrust first. But hip thrust doesn't drive the fatigue in me the way the RDLs are at the moment. So I'm going to swap the pendulum squat over to the day that I have my hip thrust first, and then take the movement that's after my hip thrust and put that over. So I'm just going to swap them over, similar movements, swap them over. I think I've got Bulgarians is what I'll swap them with. So I'm actually going to swap them over. Bulgarians are still a big movement, but I'm just not tending to drive them as hard at the moment as what I do with the pendulum squat. One moment, my chicken. So it's what when you get rid of all the noise and the fatigue and the lack of sleep and the hormone issues and all this sort of stuff, and you actually build a foundation, this is where you get to get nuanced with your programming. And this can look different for everyone. My daughter actually doesn't like pendulum squat. She had them in her programs when she was doing the bodybuilding competitions, and she actually doesn't like them. And they weren't a primary move, they were further down in her program. And I think when you like a movement and it's just resonating with you really well and you're executing really well, you tend to drive that harder. So she just didn't drive the pendulum squat as much, but put her on some Bulgarians, absolutely smashing it. At the moment, I am the opposite. So I'm going to swap those over so I don't have these two massive fatiguing movements in one day. Now they're still in my program. My program is still balanced. I'm still hitting all the markers and the number of sets and volume and stuff that I want to hit, but it's just getting into that nuance of what is working for my body right now. Now, I referenced Mel, a client of mine that this female focus, essentially the idea of this female focus spawned from. And I actually did a podcast with her, which was awesome. And if anyone wants it, let me know. I will send you the podcast. But essentially, I went through her history of what she's done. So she started from never really trained before, was doing the pro-metabolic eating but not tracking, so gained lots of weight. So that whole pro-metabolic community where, you know, they go, oh, you can eat carbs, so they overdo it and then blame pro-metabolic eating for it. Not that. So she, not training, had gained some weight pro-metabolically, but she knew she wanted to be strong. She knew she had to get her weight under control. That's where she started. She hurt her back very early on, not lifting, but something happened, so we had to pause. So that was her starting point. Never trained, slightly overweight, and then hurt her back and had to go through rehab. And in 18 months, we took her from rehab to where she is now. She's done 2 deficits. She's now in her second big building phase, and we'll do another deficit at the end of the year, and she will go sub 20%, but she's got the health to go sub 20% body fat, because she's done it the right way. Now, if you want to hear her history and how we've actually nuanced this planning for her, so we've put a roadmap for the rest of the year in for her, and it wasn't just a matter of, I'll build on this program and then we'll do a cut. We've actually had to take the data from what we've had before, from her in deficits and the way she's performing now, her training intensity, and the way we've had to restructure things because she is so gritty in the gym. We now need a really big focus on recovery. Also, the long, moderate deficit for an extended period of time is not working for her now. It worked in the beginning, but because of her intensity and where her training has gone, we're going to have to structure that differently as well, because she didn't recover. She didn't survive the last one as well and had a bigger recovery phase after the last deficit than what we would have liked. So now she's tapping into the, I just like to make sure I get everything done. And she's realizing I've got to listen to that now and realize how far I took it last time. I should have been speaking up and telling you about the fatigue I was feeling. So talking about that communication, so I can help her identify where things need to change in her program. So that's been an amazing lesson for her. And it's really going to serve. I mean, she's fantastic now. She's recovered again from that deficit. She's pushing really hard, and she's doing really well on this program. I can't believe the glute growth we've seen in just a couple of months. Like the photos are, I put them up on social media the other day, the difference in her glutes already, and her body fat hasn't gone anywhere. So we're driving the build without the body fat going up. You do not have to eat in a surplus all the time and gain body fat to grow muscle. Some people do. I used to be in a position where I was like that. Adrenal fatigue and stress had a lot to do with that I just needed that extra food. I'm actually finding now, if I'm being really specific about it, I'm currently gaining muscle without gaining the body fat, and I'm really happy to be in this position. But again, you have to know your body, your data, and how you're reacting. And if you nail it right, you don't actually have to gain body fat to build the muscle. For more advanced trainers, when you're early on, you can recomp, which is lose body fat and gain muscle. In the first 2 years of training, as a general rule, you should be able to lose body fat and gain muscle, which is called body recomposition. You can get to a point where body recomposition doesn't really work for you anymore. And like I said, depending on your history and your body, some people might need to go into a slight surplus. You certainly don't need to bulk the way I see a lot of women and men bulking. You don't need that much of an excess. You just need a really small one. So a really lean bulk. You might put a little bit on in body fat, just enough to push you. But a lot of people can also get away with more of a maintenance. So they maintain their muscle mass and maintain their body fat and build muscle mass. And then they don't have to go through, well, now I've built the muscle, now I've got to shred it back again. So it's a really great place to be in. So if anyone wants that podcast to hear me talk about what Mel's history was, what we did with her previously, and what she's doing now, and the plan moving forward, it's a really great way to see how coaching should be done and how nuanced you can get it with a person when you lay the foundations. And what are the foundations? Your foundations of strength, metabolic health, which leads into hormone health, energy, ideal sleep. And when you're nailing all of that, anything is possible. But get rid of all the noise of all those symptoms first, and then worry about that sort of thing. For the moment, if you haven't been training in a way that is building muscle and you're wondering why your body isn't changing, the first thing you want to do is just nail it all over strength. And then you start sculpting from there. So Mel's a great example of me doing the sculpting with her now after building that base strength, which is awesome. So again, if anyone wants that, just send me a DM and I'll throw the podcast over to you. Or if you're familiar with my podcast on Spotify or Apple, you can head over there and you'll see the one. I think it was the last one that I just put out, last week's one. Anyway, here, let's talk about food prep. Chicken thighs for dinner this week. So this is chicken thighs just with a spicy herb mix that I had. It's a clean one, no shit in it. Lane's Sunday roast. So it's like a hearty flavour. Put them in there. Like a really meaty, hearty flavour. And then we're just going to have some plain boiled potatoes. Skin on this week, because I'm lazy. And from that, we will have a dressing to go on it to help flavour it, make the potatoes nice. Let me just put this in. Flavour it, make the potatoes nice. And the dressing is going to be a honey mustard yogurt dressing. I just need to wash my hands. So, chicken thighs grilled up. I've done these in the air fryer today, just with that spices on it. There's no added oils or anything like that. Boiled potatoes. This is a couple of days worth for us, and then I'll just cook some more one night, about 2-3 days in. I don't like my potatoes held in the fridge past 2, maybe 3 days, so I don't tend to cook as much of those up, but it's super, super easy just to chop some up and have them on the stove. So I'll do that midweek, top that up midweek. So it'll just be those two with the dressing on top. Now, 250 grams of yogurt. I'm going to measure this out as I go. I'm actually still playing with the quantities of this. I found this recipe and I did put it in my macro manipulation meal guide, but I feel when I look at that recipe, I feel like it needs more yogurt in it. So that's what I've done this time. I will update it if I feel like it needs to be a bit different, but let's give this a go. So 250 of I've gone fat-free high protein yogurt. Chobani yogurt is what we use here in Australia. 60 grams of Dijon mustard, 50 grams of honey, I'm actually going to go 40 for the moment. I'm just going to look at that. I'll do some taste testing when I've done an update here, but I'm actually going to go 40 grams of honey. And then we just want 20 grams of apple cider vinegar. And then give that a really big mix. I actually have a lot of yogurt in my diet. I love yogurt-based dressings because they're really creamy and you can sweeten them up, you can make them more tangy, but there's so much that you can do with it without being super high fat like a normal salad dressing or something. So I really love yogurt dressings. So I tend to, my clients all know this as well, they'll see a lot of yogurt-based things in my diet. It's just the way I love to eat, and I usually like more like fresh flavors and stuff like that. So coriander and lime features a lot in my recipes, fresh herbs. Right, let's see how that tastes. Salt. I like Malden sea salt, really good with heavy metals. Maybe a little bit more. Let's mix that up. Let's see how we go there. I've got a piece of hair that's driving me nuts. Right. Well, that's better. Nailed it. Nailed it. That's great. Love it. So that was 250 grams of yogurt, 40 grams of honey, 60 grams of Dijon mustard, and 20 grams of apple cider vinegar. Salt. Salt goes without saying. If I don't ever say the salt, trust me, there's fucking salt in there. And I reckon a bit of black pepper would go really nice in that too. So I'm actually just going to add some black pepper, fresh ground. I like my fresh cracked black pepper. And then that is our dressing. So that'll be enough dressing for the two of us for the week. So I'm really liking that. Right, I need to go and update the recipe now, don't I? Poor Gladys, my VA, my assistant, I've just had her update the recipe file, and now I'm going to make her update it again. There we go, that's it. I'll just put that in a jar in the fridge. Now, lunch. What are we doing for lunch this week? We are doing different. Normally I do meatballs. I was due to roll some more meatballs. I usually do them in big batches and put it in the freezer and just cook like 3 days at a time. Run out of meatballs, was going to make some more, and Dean said, how about we have turkey mince? So we'd had turkey. The turkey mince came about because my daughter was eating a lot of turkey mince in prep, and then I made a turkey mince dinner with stir-fry veg and miso and all the rest of it the other week, and he really, really enjoyed the turkey mince. So he said to me, can we do something with turkey mince? And I went, yeah, sure. So I've just done turkey mince just with seasoning. I've just used onion powder, garlic powder and salt. That's all I've used in it. He's actually said he's just going to have HP sauce on it. Not me. So it still will be sweet potato. So I'll be having a base of sweet potato rounds for those who haven't seen it before. I just do these in the air fryer. So I just cut them up. Really light spray of coconut oil in the air fryer. I put them on 5-minute lots, shake it just so they keep turning over. And they take about 15 minutes per batch. And I just keep batching them whilst I'm in the kitchen. They're coming through. No, Murphy. Yes. So I will do for lunch a base of that. I'll pop about 125 grams of turkey mince, which is just seasoned, fried off in a frying pan. I'll put that in. And then I'll either put some goat's cheese, which is super low fat, goat's cheese, and it's soft. So as you put it over the turkey mince, it'll kind of melt into it, and it's really soft. It's almost like softer than cream cheese even once you leave it out of the fridge. But it's beautiful and creamy. So either goat's cheese, or you can use cottage cheese, which is another way to make the mince nice and creamy. So you just put that across the top with a little bit of honey and chili flakes. Yum. Even cinnamon if you want to. I think that was one that my daughter was doing. But just the cheese, the honey, and the chili flakes for a little bit of spice. Yum. So I will have that with some raspberries afterwards. I've got raspberries and kiwi fruit, so I'll just have either raspberries or kiwi fruit afterwards for a few more carbs for that. So that will be my lunch. Turkey mince is already cooked. Hang on. So turkey mince has been cooked. I cooked off 2 kilos of turkey mince. Anything that's left over I will freeze down, and we can just use that for a dinner one night or something. I've got a label on it so Dean knows how much each of us are having when we serve up in the evening. So that's done. Potatoes, the same, they're in a container ready to go. I'll pop them in the fridge. Sweet potatoes are being done at the moment for lunch. Chicken is almost done, so I've just got another batch of chicken in there, and then that's done. And I'm still on my skim milk pancakes. So I have skim milk, egg, a little bit of casein, and water. make a pancake out of that, and then I have a heap of berries and maple syrup, an orange juice, a coffee, and that's my breakfast. And training snack, I'm sticking to the rice cakes, orange marmalade and cottage cheese. That's working really well. It seems to be fueling me really well in the gym since moving from the rice cream, so that's good. But if I ever run out any of that, the rice cream option is always there. It's just rice cream, casein, honey, and some sort of fruit on top as well. So whatever fruit I have in the house, bananas or kiwis, raspberries, whatever, doesn't matter, just as long as my carbs come up. And then of course my adrenal cocktail while I train, which is orange juice, coconut water, salt. I do add some extra water and lots of ice because I like to water it down a bit. And that's my training snack. And that's it. That is it. Like literally, yes, I've been in the kitchen for an hour and a half, but I've been dancing around the kitchen to music and just fucking around basically. But an hour in the kitchen getting that done. You'll see the photo of what my kitchen looked like before I tidied everything up to get on here. I have multiple things going at once, like learn to be efficient in the kitchen. The biggest thing for your health and to enjoy your food is learn to use herbs, spices, those sorts of things that don't add calories to your meal but make them really, really tasty. If you can do that and then learn to prep in a way where you're efficient. So the first thing I do is peel and slice my sweet potato while the air fryer is heating up, and then I'm just batching that, and that just gets batched whilst I'm here cooking. Today I, hang on. Fridge was still open. Today, so I got that going, and then it was like I put a frying pan on, and while the frying pan was heating up, I was seasoning the packets of turkey mince. So I bought them in 500 gram packs, opened them up, salt, onion, garlic powder. So I was seasoning each packet, and I just cooked it off in packets. And then in the middle of doing, while that was cooking off, because each one would take a few minutes to do, I chopped the potatoes and got them on the stove. And then once I'd finished the mince, I was still waiting for the potatoes, so I trimmed up all the fat off of the chicken thighs, put them into the bowl, seasoned, and have started putting that through the air fryer. I will still have some sweet potato to do after this, but once I've cleaned up, like I can just be sitting having a coffee. I want to spend some time with the cats. My poor little kitty cats have been a little bit neglected this week. I haven't had much time with them. So I'm just going to sit down and I'll let them outside and have a coffee and just chill while I just get up and down and finish the batching of the sweet potato. And I'm done. Like if you learn to be efficient like that in the kitchen, have multiple things on the go, and you'll see my kitchen looks like a disaster if you go back and have a look at that photo on my stories. You know, things become really, really quick, and meal prep doesn't have to be that big a deal. And then maybe later today I'm going to clean out the fridge a little bit. I am going to freeze down some of the stuff from last week because I made extra. So I just, sometimes when I do a big batch of something, so I did a 1-pan chicken curry with some rice in that, so it's an all-in-one, but that can really easily go into the freezer. I intentionally cooked more 2 stock meals in my freezer. That way if something happens during the week or on the weekend, or we are going to be going and visiting Dean's parents at some stage this month. So, you know, we drive back from there. It's like a 6-hour drive. So when we come back, we're coming back on a Sunday or a Monday. Like, what are we going to eat? There's not going to be anything in the house. Well, there's a couple of freezer meals in there. They get us started while I can get some shopping done and some meal prep done. So it's really good to have some things in the freezer as well. So just staying ahead of things like that. And it makes life so much easier. And you just don't have to think about food anymore. You think about it once, get your shit done for the week, and then you're done. I love it. It's just so much easier. Women these days, the mental load, get rid of it with meal prepping and tracking in advance. If you're trying to track and it's not working for you and you're doing it on the fly, you need to track in advance. You need to have your day planned out before it even fucking starts. And then you don't think about it. You just get up and eat it. And that's all you have to do. And then you know that you're hitting your targets, you're getting enough, or you're not eating too much, whichever you tend to do the most of. I tend to not eat enough, so I've got to make sure I'm always eating, and I know I'm hitting it. And if something changes during the day, I can change it. Like we went out for dinner last night, so I just removed my dinner and my bedtime snack, jumped on the website to see where we were going, what did they have, plugged in what I thought I was going to have, and went, great, when I come home I can still have a little bit of chocolate, but I don't need the milk, I don't need all the chocolate, but I will have a nice meal out and I will have a Coke with it, and I don't have to think about it. And I make my macros, make my calories, got my protein, got my calories, was all good. Anyway, I will love you and leave you, everyone. Happy Sunday, enjoy the rest of the day, and I will see you through the week.